shut the door and say goodnight. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. Does it? I'm your host, Tom. Oh, God, this one hurts just a little bit extra Grossi. And today, we are going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers knocking off the Packers, eliminating them in the postseason with a score of 13-10. Before we get to that, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to some brand new patrons and YouTube members. First, over on the Patreon side of things, we have Jake W. A big shout out and thank you to you. And over on the YouTube side of things, we have Retro Gaming. We have regular old Star Wars fan. We have Raphael Ledoux. We have By Geeko Plays. We have Fix This, Dr. Dead Inside, Xander Sweet, Football Kings, and Oliver Mule. A big shout out and thank you to you all. So the Packers, on the verge of their third straight NFC Championship appearance, fall short after, for the second year in a row, they clinched the number one seed, home field advantage. They are knocked out by the San Francisco 49ers. Aaron Rodgers now 0-4 against the 49ers in the playoffs. And this is a lot more than just the Packers losing. Because as we have said from 2008, really, that, okay, well, there's next year. You know, and you go to the wild card, you win the Super Bowl, you go to the divisional, and, you know, you're bounced back and forth between the wild card, divisional, you go to a bunch of NFC championship games, and even in these last few years against the 49ers back in 2019, you're like, okay, maybe next year, reload, and they did so well. Got the number one seed again. Lost to the Buccaneers. And then this year, going into it, ever since the draft, you knew that this was the last dance. That this was the last opportunity for Aaron Rodgers and many of his teammates to get a ring. And unfortunately, not only have they fallen short, but now the Green Bay Packers are going to look like a very different football team next season. And that is going to scare a lot of Packers fans because this offseason is not going to be a fun one. This was the definition of all in, and we came up just short. And let's talk about who's not to blame. Let's talk about the good first. The defense. Holy freaking crap, man. Defense phenomenal. 7 total yards in the first quarter for the 49ers. 7 total. Negative 14 passing yards. 0 first downs allowed. And for the rest of the game, the defense only allowed 6 points. Absolute phenomenal work by that defense. You had Whitney Merciless coming back. Za'Darius Smith getting a sack. On the first game he returns, Jair Alexander's in the game. And the defense, and especially that pass rush, just looked great. So the defense, none of this is on you whatsoever. They did absolutely everything in their power to win. Let's talk about everything that went poorly. It seemed that after the first drive, which was a great first drive, 10 plays, 69 yards, nice. First drive of the game ends in an A.J. Dillon tutty. It's fantastic. Second drive, they're moving. Mercedes Lewis fumbles over on the 49ers side of the field, and the Packers offense just didn't look the same. They would score a total of 3 points in the entirety of the rest of the game. They were shut out for 2 quarters. The offense did not come to play in the second half, and it was brutal. The big thing, of course, the special teams. Throughout the season, every single Packers fan fix the special teams. Special teams are going to cost us in the playoffs. And the special teams cost us arguably 13 points tonight. You had a blocked field goal before half. That's 3 points. You had a punt that was blocked and returned for a touchdown. That's 7 points. And in addition, Deebo Samuel ran back a 45-yard kick return that set up the 49ers with their first points of the night in a field goal. So arguably 13 points. That's the entirety of the 49ers' entire frickin' frackin' score. So one of those things goes right, and we're in a completely different ball game here. Looking at the offense here, it was a nightmare. Aaron Rodgers, 20 for 29, 225 yards, was sacked 5 times. 0 tutties, 0 interceptions. He was pressured on 32.4% of his dropbacks. That's a lot. Before the game, we got Jair back. I was excited, but David Bakhtiari not playing again. Played in Detroit, didn't play here, and it kind of just feels like when David Bakhtiari got injured on New Year's Eve of 2019, it just set up a crap storm that the Packers never recovered from. But Aaron Jones, 12 for 41, 9 for 129 receiving, almost had a touchdown as well. He played well. A.J. Dillon, 7 for 25 with 1 touchdown, got hurt during that game. Devontae Adams, 9 for 90. Allen Lazard, 1 catch, 0 for Cobb, 0 for DeGuara. And DeGuara dropped one over the middle that could have kept the drive going. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Just to give you an idea, between Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, you put them to the side, a total of 32 yards on offense, and they lost 29 yards on 5 sacks. Not a great day for an offense that's supposed to be one of the best in the league. They did not show up. The game plan, I don't know what it was. The offense just couldn't get out of a funk. Kudos to the 49ers for constantly pressuring Aaron Rodgers. The Packers got away from the run game. It seemed when A.J. Dillon went down, things definitely took a turn for the worse, and they just never recovered. On the defensive side, again, I just want to shout out, we already did Z. Rashawn Gary had 2 sacks. Rashawn Gary's a freaking stud, man. We are lucky to have him on the team. He came up big and clutch in this game. Preston Smith, our leading tackler. So shout out to them. Special teams, again, just so incredibly frustrating. Lost us the game, though at the same time, the offense should be better. And looking at the 49ers offense, they weren't good either. They scored a total of 6 points. Jimmy G, 11 for 19, 131 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. We sacked him 4 times. Elijah Mitchell, 53 yards on the ground. Debo, 39 yards on the ground, 44 through the air. Kittle, 4 for 63, was their leading receiver. The offense didn't do anything. The special teams literally killed us here. So, unfortunately for the 49ers, Trent Williams and Debo were hurt in that game. Hopefully they're okay for the NFC Championship game. And it's GG's. Good game for the 49ers. You know, they came in, they knocked off the Cowboys last week. They knocked us off in a very difficult place to play in Lambeau. And that's it. So, good luck the rest of the way. They played a better game. And the fact that we could not score more than 13 points is absolutely infuriating. And hell, the 49ers even mocked the belt, and we still couldn't do that. Now, after the game, of course, Packers fans are left pondering what our future is. Aaron Rodgers had a press conference talking about how much this one hurt. He's going to take some time away from the game, talk to some guys in Green Bay. But his quote, I don't want to be part of a rebuild if I'm going to keep playing. So I think that sums it up. Aaron Rodgers is most likely either going to retire or he is going to be playing for a very different team than the Green Bay Packers next season. Because right now, you have Devontae, free agent, Lazard, free agent, MVS, free agent, Tunyon, free agent, Crosby, Z, who knows if they stick around either. There are going to be a lot of people leaving this organization and leaving this team. And Randall Cobb probably is going to get cut too. Probably Randall Cobb's last opportunity to get a ring. And it's just so frustrating because the team has done so well this year. Got the first seed again, home field advantage. And it's the beauty and frustrating thing about football. You don't show up for 4 quarters, then you go home. Packers right now are going to be over $44 million over the cap for next season. They are in the second worst predicament, only behind the Saints. And it's going to be ugly. But this one hurts a bit more just because we know that this was basically our last shot for at least a short time future. Jordan Love, We'll probably get a really good look at him next season. We have no idea what we got in him. The good thing is, at least for a couple years, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, they should dominate that backfield. We're going to need wide receivers 100%. We'll see how much the defense is decimated, but yeah, this sucks, man. This freaking sucks. I was just thinking, maybe I'll go to the NFC Championship game. Maybe I'll go to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, the Packers did not make it to either. And for the third year in a row, they just can't get over the hump. But a very bitter and sad end to what is most likely the Aaron Rodgers era in Green Bay. I will be very grateful for the time that I got to see Aaron Rodgers play football. He is one of the best to ever play the game. Again, I said this on stream. Fate, destiny doesn't really apply to football, but it really felt like it this year. After the crazy offseason, Rodgers basically like, all right, we're back in it one more time. Devontae, his contract going up. Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas playing out of their minds. It didn't come to fruition. All those guys coming back. And unfortunately, it is a early playoff exit for the Green Bay Packers. But we'll see. We'll be streaming the rest of the playoff games and the Super Bowl. Won't have to worry about going. So we'll be doing that. And then we'll be here for the entire offseason. And we'll see what happens with the Packers. But I appreciate you being here, folks. And being on this ride. It just sucks that it had to end this way. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about how the offense performed? Special teams, fire them into the sun. Let me know. You guys find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.